This is JHouze Radio, the podcast of pop culture. Appreciate you guys checking us out live.
It is today. It is the house. It is the pop culture podcast and skunk story.
apparently. Today's all just about the Acolytes. We're going to be talking about the first 4 episodes of the Acolyte, breaking down our thoughts. We're going to do a spoiler section. Obviously, we'll let you guys know when that's going to happen. But we appreciate you guys watching this live. So
You know what? I gotta do a little spoiler alert sound clip that we can play every time we do it.
Yeah. True. Yeah, we should do something like that, or maybe have something at like the bottom of the screen so that way people know if they're watching live that spoilers are still happening.
Yeah, we got to do something like that.
Maybe I could do something like that. I might actually be able to do something like live while we're live right now. So, yeah, let's jump into it. The Acolytes.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of the show. For those who don't know, the story is set 100 years before Star Wars, and it is about the way the Jedi were back then, where, excuse me, traditionally we just think they're all from Coruscant, and they just have these random Jedi temples throughout the universe. Back then, those random Jedi temples were actually populated, and each temple had different types of robes. Some were white, some were brown, like in Coruscant, some were yellow, some were gold.
I like the yellow robes for some reason. I don't know why.
I wasn't very fond of it.
Yeah.
No, I think it was the cut of the robe. I don't think it was the color. I think it was the cut.
Okay.
So Dark Legion wants to know, did you watch the first 4 episodes of Acolyte?
Of course. Yeah. That's why we're here. Okay.
So now it's set in that time period, and it's about 2 twins who were see, this is once again why I tell you need to watch Clone Wars, because you didn't understand about the witches and the Covenant, and those type of witches were a big story point in Clone Wars. It is from Darth Maul's people.
Okay.
Darth Maul's people are Force users, but they're dark side Force users, and they look at the Force differently than the Jedi. These 2 girls come from that Covenant, and then something happens. The girls get separated. Each one thinks the other one's dead. One becomes an Acolyte, in other words, a Sith apprentice, and the other one was a Jedi but quit the temple. And here we're at. Here's we're starting to do the review. For those who don't know, first part is spoiler free. Do you want to do it episode by episode, or do you want to just do it all as one lump thing?
I think we can kind of just do it as one lump thing, honestly, because for the first few minutes or first few moments, I wanted to just talk about the first 4 episodes in general. And besides that, a lot of the episodes are pretty short, honestly. So I think we could just talk about it.
I literally felt that there were 2 episodes that were really long.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part too, because I think most of the episodes are about 30 minutes or so. Maybe one of them was like 38, possibly.
I think they were between 40 and 30, depending on the episode. Yeah. But one of them was just paced so slow. I was like, dear Lord.
I feel like the episode you're talking about in regards to that is probably the one where we get introduced to them as little kids. I think because I felt that way with that episode. I felt like that episode kind of drug on a little bit for like the first half, and I was just like,
but
okay, where are we going?
Me knowing the history of the Covenant, I was a little more hooked on what was happening.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind it. I thought it was very informative. I did like the fact that we had a backstory, especially that early in the season. I just felt like certain parts just kind of drug it a little bit, longer than it needed to be. But yeah, I thought my biggest gripe with the first 4 episodes so far is the fact that I feel like a lot of them were pretty short, and they got to a certain story beat where I wanted more, and then they said, nope, the episode's over, we're done, see you next week. You know what I mean? And I just when we got the other Star Wars shows and those pushing more towards like the 1 hour mark, I felt like it was good pacing, and I kind of like that we had more time to sit on the story, to like actually just be engulfed in the story with those shows. And with this one going back to the traditional like 90s time frame of like, 30 something minutes, I just feel like it wasn't long enough. And it just kind of left me like, oh, okay, that's it. Almost like every episode was like, oh, the episode's over.
No,
I
I
just had that.
literally, I thought the timing was perfect.
Really
I thought
interesting.
the timing was, and this is why. I think they kind of learned from their mistakes with other Star Wars shows,
Okay.
where they just seemed. Well, first of all, a lot of people hate the Acolyte, which I find a little weird.
I've been hearing that too, actually.
Because it's not terrible.
It's not
It's not terrible.
terrible though.
It's a pretty decent show, but I think in the past, what Star Wars has done is kind of like, oh, it has to be 40 minutes. Let's fill 40 minutes. And I feel like now they were just like not scared to go, we only need 28 minutes. We only need 31 minutes. We're okay.
Yeah.
So I did like that. And I did appreciate that in each episode. Because like, can I just start going through the review, or are we still just doing kind of an overview?
We can just go through the review, honestly. Like, non-spoilers, of
Okay.
course, yeah.
Because in episode 1, I was like, wow, they're jumping to the action quick.
Yeah, that was pretty quick. It was literally like,
And
what, a few seconds.
it was super unexpected. And I kind of felt a little rushed because Star Wars traditionally does that, look to the stars, pan down,
Yeah.
And then, a little bit of fucking beauty shots, and then you start the story and there's no real action till a little bit
Yeah.
later. But I do like that they broke from tradition. There was no crawl in the beginning. It was just text.
Yeah.
And I thought it was well written. I thought it was written on a 4th or 5th grade level. So it's kind of in between adults and kids. And I kind of felt like that's good because now everyone can read it and understand it and no one will be left out. They didn't have to use $5 words when quarter words will do. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And I thought the first episode really hooked you into the story in the sense of you were hella confused at the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was.
what is going on?
Yeah. Same here. I mean, I kind of liked it though because it did have like a little add like a little intrigue to the show, which is good. So yeah, I was extremely confused by what was going on by the end of the episode. I just wasn't expecting to take that turn so quickly, especially within the first like 10 minutes of the first episode. It was like, oh, that happened. Okay.
And what I also love is the title of the show doesn't come on till like after a scene or two.
Yeah, I do like that. I don't know why I like that, but
they took the Mandalorian way of doing it.
Yeah,
that's how Mandalorian did it.
Yeah, I do like that.
So I did like that.
I mean, so I'm guessing you said that you. So did you like the pacing of the show, like the overall pacing?
First episode, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the weak spot was something we'll talk about on the spoiler section.
Okay. Who is your favorite or least favorite character from the show so far? Or both?
I can't really say that one because it spoils a couple of things. So that's still in the spoiler territory.
Spoiler territory.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I will say the character shows up in the first episode.
Okay. Extremely.
You already know who it is.
Yeah.
You already know who it is.
I think I already know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
What do you think of the relationship between May and Osha in the show so far?
Stupid. And I'll tell you why.
Stupid? What?
And I'll tell you why. Okay. Yet another set of twins who are Force users. And they telegraph things such as one wears dark clothing, One wears light clothing. I
Ah,
wonder
yeah.
who's on the dark side or the light side. It's a repeat of Star Wars, Leia and Luke.
Yeah.
Another
I
set of
didn't. You know what? I
fighting
didn't.
using the Force. Blah 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 blah.
I didn't even think about that until you said it. That actually does make sense. Honestly, it does make sense. I mean, I do think early on the relationship I kind of didn't really care about. There was nothing about it that really made me care, even after we found out how the relationship changed after like episode two. I think the most interesting part about the relationship was the episode when they were kids. Honestly, that gave me a little bit of a look behind the curtain about why each of them are the way that they are and things like that. And I actually thought that was a really good episode. I thought the children who portrayed Osha and May as kids were actually really good actors. Like they acted like kids, but
Yeah,
it didn't come off cringy. You know what I mean? Like there's such thing as actors who are kids who can do kids well, and there are actors who are kids who are just like annoying. And it's like, all right, can we just go back to the adult section? Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, their relationship, I kind of don't care about. I'm just maybe after episode four, just starting to care about their relationship a little bit, starting to care about okay, what does this look like going forward in the upcoming episodes? But there was a period of time where I was just like, there's not enough here for me to care. I get what you're trying to go for. I get what you're trying to do as far as a story, but there was just something missing that didn't make me care enough. And maybe it was like what you said before, been here, done that. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
The when they do the backstory, the two little girls that they picked to be the younger versions,
Yeah.
what struck me the most is, yeah, they look pretty close alike, but their noses were so off. You didn't notice that?
Not really. No, I didn't really catch that.
Little Osha had a bigger what's this part of the nose called? Bridge?
The bridge, yeah,
It had a thicker bridge of her nose, so it made her nose look, you know, bigger than the other actress who had a thinner bridge.
yeah,
That bugged me because I was like, they twins, but they not, you know.
yeah,
And then as an adult, they're identical. No, you can still see a difference.
yeah, yeah. There is a little bit of a difference, honestly. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Their relationship in general is definitely kind of weird. Um, I want to jump into spoilers. I really do. Like I have a lot of
No,
stuff
no,
to talk about for sure.
we can quickly go through the non spoilers because some people really aren't into spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say besides what we already said. I mean, I do think the pacing is great. Like I said, I'm just not starting to care about Osha and May. Um, Let me see. Oh, I did ask you my favorite character, but then that kind of goes, like you said, into spoiler territory. So I'm
Right.
gonna wait to the spoilers for that one as well. But overall, I mean, I think the show is
Wait. I
I
thought we were going this episode by episode.
no, no,
Or
no.
do
We
you
were
just
just
want to rush to the spoilers? Be
no,
honest.
no. I just honestly, I feel like we should just do like an overall because I felt like some of the episodes were pretty short. I kind of really didn't feel like we needed to go episode through episode. I just wanted to get like an overall, especially since we're like halfway through the season. I just want to get like an overall, just like taste of like what we thought about the show, basically so far.
I
Um,
will say this much about the show: they do the Jedi right.
I agree.
They, for I think it's the first time in a long time since Clone Wars, I feel like they've done the Jedi right. I feel like the Jedi don't feel like this hokey religion mumbo jumbo wizards. They feel like holy warriors.
Yeah, I would have to 100% agree with that because I thought that each and every episode I was like, wow, I like how they're representing the Jedi in this show. Like there's something it definitely felt different compared to anything we've gotten in over the past few years.
Yeah,
Honestly, as far as
and I liked how they showed that the Jedi were trying to stay out of politics, which is
yeah,
something that's very different than what happens in the prequel.
yeah, that is true.
Because in the prequel, they were all about politics. So I did like that, and I did like the fact that it was more of what people expect of the Jedi. When people talk about Jedi,
Mhm.
which I've always found very weird about the Star Wars fans. You know, because Luke is God, Rey is the devil. You know, Palpatine shouldn't have come back, and even though they didn't really have, then when they go into the prequels, they make the Jedi more soldiers and less of what they've been, what people said they were supposed to be in the original trilogy. And I think now they show them as the way people have always expected them to be. And I think the Jedi were done correctly finally.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. But the one thing that I actually don't agree with is um the character in the show, the Jedi Yord Fondar. His hair, man. What's up with that hair, bro? What's up with the hair?
Oh, I
I don't
hated
know.
him.
I
I hated him.
as a as a
I
character,
hated him.
why?
Yeah. The best way I could describe it is he was like the main bad guy in the Nick Fury series. Just didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wow. That's actually a really good comparison. Jeez.
He just didn't fit. Well, I feel like everyone else very much tried to fit in the universe. Him, I kind of felt like he was too modern, too 21st century,
Yeah,
and that was my issue with him. That's why I hated him.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's something definitely. I think it was the hairstyle, man, because there
No,
is an because the
there's a
problem is.
character
Mhm.
that has hair similar to that in the books, but yeah, the hair was a little off-putting.
The problem is with that is there's this thing going around in gaming and pop culture, especially in gaming, where they're giving a lot of black characters the Killmonger hairstyle, because that's basically where a lot of us, saw it in live action. Probably for the first time or somewhere similar to that hairstyle was from Killmonger. We had it in a bunch of video games since then. We had it in Miles Morales and the most recent Spider-Man game, and a lot of fans, a lot of people of color are kind of getting tired of being represented with that one hairstyle, almost as if it's like every black person has dreads that look like this. And that's been a topic of discussion for a very long time over the past like few years, since a
I
lot of
I didn't get that vibe from his hair. I got that anime hair.
yeah. I mean, I think for us it's not like because of the vibe of it. I just think it's just like, yo, why are you giving another black guy the same hair? Like black people have more than just that type of hair, and they've been doing it. The problem is they've been giving so many black characters literally that type, like that style of hair, a lot over the past few years in video games, cartoons, movies, now Star Wars. It's like, all right, it's become like almost a meme at this point. Like, hey, black guy with the hair dreads, with the dreads coming down to the side. It's literally a meme right now at this point.
I kind of think it's one of those things where people, black people's hair, if you have it, you understand it. If you don't have it, you don't understand it. So I think a lot of the people who are in wardrobe and everything else are kind of like, yeah, do that one. That one works. I don't, I hope at least. I hope it's not a conscious thing where they're like, yeah, yeah, do that one. In this one, I agree with you on every other movie. Absolutely 100% agree with you. In this one, I felt like it was going more in that anime style, where in a lot of these anime movies, they have these men look like women with haircuts like that and the hair sticking up.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's what it felt more like. And I hated the character because he just felt too much 21st century. And like, was it necessary to have him a scene without a shirt on? Like,
yeah.
what was that about?
I literally thought the same thing too. He was like, "Oh, hey, you just walked in the room and I was getting dressed. Excuse me, let me grab my shirt." It's like, come on,
It felt
man.
like he was going, "Oh, ignore these washboard abs. I just kind of wanted to, I wanted to show off my nipples." That's literally what it felt like.
It did. It did not feel natural. It was just like, all right, you guys are clearly forcing it. And first you got the hairstyle thing, now you got the nipplage going on. Come on, man. Like
The
we
thing is,
get it.
he wasn't even shy about it. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, master. I have to get dressed. What do you think? Am I sexy enough?" Like it just didn't. Like if they would have caught him like that, and he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," you know.
Exactly, exactly. He was like, Master, do you want me to put a shirt on? Dude, what do you think? Like, come on.
I
You
thought he
know
was
what I'm
gonna drop his pens and be like, "Master, how you doing?
like, dude, put a shirt on. What do you, it was just, yeah, his
Would you
character
like
did
to use
feel
my force?" I mean, really? That's
his
what it felt like.
his character did feel like they were trying to fill a void that they felt like they needed to, which I feel like didn't even exist in this show. Like we his character was very weird. It was very weird, and it just felt forced. Like they were trying to reach a certain audience, and we're looking like we don't need you to try to reach us with that type of character. Just give us Star Wars, dude. You know what I mean?
I just think it was the wrong actor for the part.
Probably that too.
And again, it's not because he did a bad job. He just felt out of time and out of place.
Yeah,
If they would
definitely
have
fell
said
out of
one
time.
line like, he comes from, way out on the outer rim, so he's a little different, then I kind of feel like that would have corrected everything. But it just didn't. He just felt out of place, showing off his nipples and stuff.
It's all his nipples and stuff. Yeah.
All
So
right.
that
You know what? We're done with the spoiler free. Right now, this second, we are starting spoilers because I can see it in KJ's eyes. He's like, I'm about to reveal details.
yes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, man. Like it's like it's pouring out of my pores right now. So
Spoilers start in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
all right, cool. So just FYI, guys, I'm putting a little spoiler banner at the bottom of the page to signify that this is the spoiler section. So as long as you guys see that at the bottom of the screen, whoever's watching live
Look
or
at you,
watching the
KJ.
video
You got
version.
all fancy with a little
Come
rose
on,
spoiler
man.
section. You should have
Yeah,
done it in yellow letters, though, man. I'm just saying.
yellow
Or
letters.
red letters so people can notice it a little more. But it's okay. It's okay. It's the first time you're using it.
First time, man.
First
First
time.
time.
First
I'm all excited and giddy about the word scrolling at the bottom of the screen, man. Let me have my flowers.
time. Okay, spoiler section. I'm so glad Yort got killed.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. I was very surprised because I felt like he was going to be that guy to like go to the end and like save the world and rip off his shirt, show off the nipplage, and like shake his little like anime hair in the air and like save the day. I was very surprised that he died, especially the way he died. It was just like, oh wow, okay,
No,
they
I thought it was perfect.
thought
I
thought it was
thought, no,
perfect.
and Legion, I'm gonna answer your question in a second. First, I got to say this. Um, um, I thought it was a perfect way of him to die because it showed his power. That's why.
Okay,
Not because I hated the character. He was my least favorite of all the Jedi, but I didn't hate the character. I just felt like he was out of place. So I feel like he died in a way that was appropriate to the story. But I was very happy that he died because it ups the stakes.
yeah, it did that whole scene and more like it with the spoiler section, just because why not? But that scene where we got introduced to the Sith, man, that was so like we got. I think like two people died in that scene. I think, right?
Yeah, Jackie died. Yor died, and a couple other Jedi that was with him.
Yeah, a couple of like
2, 3 of them.
random Jedi.
Yeah.
That was a crazy that scene went on for like half the episode, and I loved it. You know how I am about lightsabers, guys. I get all giddy
Yes.
about lightsabers. Um,
I will say I saw up to episode 5. What was the last thing that happened in episode 4?
wait, are we? I don't think the episode 5's up yet.
Yes, it is. I saw it today.
Wait, did 2 episodes? Wait, oh, maybe I'm confused then. Maybe
Okay. Episode 4 ends where the bad guy pushes everybody away with a big force push.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, so I did see 5. I'm mixing up
No, no,
episode
no.
numbers. Yeah, okay.
5 is where you see the face of the actual Sith.
Yeah, okay. You wanna know
Did
what I
you see
confused it with?
episode 5 or not?
Yeah, yeah, I did see it. I'm confusing it with the fact that we were gonna do this last week, and we were saying episode 4, and I'm still thinking of last time that we were gonna do it. We said we are gonna do episode 4.
Okay.
So,
So we
scratch
are
that.
doing episode 5.
Yeah, episode 5.
Okay. The reveal of the bad guy was zero surprise.
Yeah, I think after, like, episode 3, part of me was already thinking, I feel like Kamir, I think that's his name. I feel like Kamir is the Sith. Why? I don't know. I just had a hunch. I was like, something just told me, like, she doesn't know who he is. So how did he train her? But then Kamir is the one that's the only one that's always around her. It would make sense that it would be Kamir because maybe Kamir could say, "Hey, the master told me to show you this, so you got to do this now." AKA, I'm the master. It's just I kind of put two and two together, at a certain point, and I was thinking, how cool would it be if Kamir was the Sith? And then when
Uh,
he took off his mask, I was like, voila, there it is.
and I was thinking the opposite. How lame would it be if he was a Sith?
I thought it was awesome that he was the
And I'll
Sith.
tell you why. When they were in that potion store
Yeah,
and she woke him up, if he fell asleep drunk, he's not hungover. And how was he able to make that poison so quickly? Those
he's
little
a
things, and he did it with a different flair than he did with everything else. And I was like, oh, that's our bad guy.
man.
That's the Sith Lord. And I thought it was lame that he was the bad guy because I was like, he's going to be revealed in 2 episodes, and he was.
Yeah, I didn't think it
Very
was gonna
excited.
happen that fast.
Yeah, it just, and there's only what, like 7 episodes, 8 episodes, so I can
8
understand why.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right.
But at the same time, I think it would have been a better story if there if he wasn't the lead Sith, he wasn't the main bad guy, and he was someone who was trained, another acolyte that was just using the goofiness to hide who he really was.
Yeah.
I think that would have been better because then that would have led to like something else. It could have led to him continuing in another story, and I thought that would have been a much better way to use the character. But I get the feeling that this is a one and done thing, 1 season and it's done. That's what it kind of feels like.
I agree.
Um, but I just thought that was telegraphed so early in the season, and I was like, yeah. When he revealed his face, I was like, oh look, no surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I am a little worried that, because when you get, like when you hear the name Sith, when you hear somebody who's involved in the dark side, like, you think, like, "Alright, this guy's gonna be, like, crazy."
He
You know what I
was.
mean? Like, he's gonna be insane, and he was good, but I feel like at times his personality doesn't fit with like Sith like, but then it is different. It's different compared to like Darth Vader, Darth Maul. Those guys have very similar personalities, and this guy's a little different. He's a little bit almost like a maniacal kind of Joker like type of Sith kind of guy, basically. So it's a little different than what we're normally used to.
The way I look at it is he hid who he was, just like Emperor Palpatine hid who he was.
Yeah,
Emperor Palpatine, just call him Palpatine. Palpatine was
Pal-
like pretended that he was an old man, he was a politician, that he has no physical prowess, and then he turns around spinning and throwing lightsabers. And this guy came off as a goofball, and then when he actually fought, he reminded me more of these oh, you know, these Thailand action movies, like The Siege and Ukbong and things like that. Like I really got that feeling from it.
yeah. I thought the choreography for that scene where he was fighting all the Jedi was just amazing. It was very different from our usual style of Jedi fights, of sword of lightsaber fights. Very different, way more aggressive, like in his style, and I actually really liked it. Like, you know what I mean? Just the way he used the Force in combination with the lightsaber, with like some of the kills that he did, he was just very brutal, and I actually thought that was very interesting.
Well, what I liked it is because it showed a different era, you know, like the fighting style wasn't like what we saw in the prequel trilogy, where is right before the fall of the Jedi. This seemed like the height of the Jedi. So that's what I really liked about it. It was so different.
Yeah.
And his aggressiveness kind of my problem with Palpatine always was is he doesn't look physically imposing and he doesn't fight. Darth Vader did everything. And although Darth Vader was skilled, and he always came across as very skilled and not doing much effort, I felt like this Sith, because he put so much effort into it and so much energy into the fight, it was very dynamic. And I love that they showed different eras of Jedi fought in different ways.
Yeah, I
What I
agree.
loved about it.
I agree.
So, who was your favorite Jedi?
Who was my favorite Jedi? Um, Actually, let me pull up IMDb because honestly, I think my favorite Jedi is Master Soul. Honestly, he has that wise man on the mountain, like that monk type of um, personality to him. Honestly, and I love the way he carries himself, the way he speaks. He talks very eloquently, um, and he's very mysterious. He also mentions, I think, in episode 5 that he's we find out from Khmer that Soul is actually hiding something, which is very interesting, which makes him more intriguing now. But yeah, I would have to say Master Soul is my favorite Jedi thus far, honestly.
I didn't. Now, mind you, I'm not saying I hated the character, but he wasn't my favorite among the Jedi because from the first moment he got on screen, he looked like he was hiding something. So
Really?
that's why I didn't like him. My favorite was uh, Indara, Carrie Ann Moss, Trinity herself.
Oh, yeah, that would. You
That
know
was
what?
my favorite
She would have been my favorite if she didn't die in like 2 seconds. Why did they kill her in the first like 30 seconds of the episode? Of the first episode?
because what they needed to do is show you that um, May was a real threat. And
Yeah,
when you see her, the actress, you instantly think Trinity. You instantly think the Matrix. You instantly think she's a badass. You instantly think she can fight. And there were certain moves in there. I'm like, oh yeah, that Matrix training is kicking in.
yeah, exactly.
And I thought it was excellent. And I thought that was a good way to show that May is a threat. For us to take an actress that we've fallen in love with in another franchise and we've admired for her fighting skills and kill her off. So it showed May was a threat. And May wasn't dumb. May said, oh, let me attempt to kill this civilian. She's going to stop it. And when she does that, I'm going to kill her. So it shows that May wasn't your typical Sith, like Darth Maul. I'm just going to beat you and cut you in half with my lightsaber. It showed she had a little more of a thought process, which I enjoyed. And that's why she's my favorite. And again, maybe it's because I'm giving her credit for the Matrix in my brain,
That's
but
probably
that's why
might
she
be a
was my
little.
favorite.
It's like a little bias going on. It's all good though.
Yeah.
We all love Carrie Ann Moss. She's amazing. Um,
And I
I
love the key Padawan.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Um, I didn't like the kill towards Carrie Ann Moss's character. It's just like I feel like because like right after that, May. I guess it's the right one. May or
Yeah, May's the dark one.
May's the dark one. Okay, I keep confusing them sometimes. It's just at first I was like, oh wow, this mysterious character. She's about to try to kill Indara. So man, if she kills her, that'd be freaking crazy. But I feel like after she killed her, and then the reveal of May, her character, yeah, she's strong, she's good, but it just didn't feel believable to me that she would get the heads up on such a skilled, trained, veteran Jedi. It wasn't believable for me. I think a lot of it, maybe a lot of that went down the hill once her reveal happened because she just seemed very like very chill. Like, yeah, I'm trying to kill Jedi's, my sister, and it's like it wasn't believable for me. Like honestly, I didn't like that kill because of the reveal of May's character after she killed her. It just everything went downhill because when she did kill her initially, it was like, wow, or this character in general, she's something that we got to watch out for in this show.
Right.
And then after a few scenes, I was like, she doesn't really feel like that much of a threat to be going around just killing Jedi. Like, yeah, she's good, but there's something about her character that just doesn't make it believable for me personally.
Um, for me, it was a good setup. And it also showed that we're now dealing with different Jedi rules.
Yeah.
Where if it was Anakin would have let that guy die, and Anakin would have killed May. If it was Obi-Wan would have moved the fight down to the lower level, stopped the blade, moved the fight to the lower level, and continued it to give the person a chance to run away. So I feel like it's different rules for different type of Jedi. So I kind of liked it, you know.
Yeah.
And again, this is the great thing about shows like this. We can have a complete difference of opinion and both be right and wrong at the same time.
Very true. Very true. A few more spoiler type questions. Do you think that the twins' mom is still alive?
Which one?
Because the black woman with the dreads that was like their mom basically, and
Um,
she supposedly she got burned in the fire that May started.
oh, she's dead. They showed
You
her
think?
body.
Oh, they did. I
They did show
forgot.
her
Oh,
body.
yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they did show her body. Never mind.
The one I'm curious about was the other mother.
Oh, yeah, because we didn't see her die.
She's the one who initially I thought it was her who was the Sith, but as the episode went, you saw that it wasn't her.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be, honestly, I thought the same thing. I thought it was going to be one of the mothers because I was like, well, I mean, it makes sense, right? She's coming back to get her kids, trying to get revenge for tearing her family apart. It makes sense, So I figured it was going to go that route. I'll go ahead and let you answer Legion's question in chat. I completely forgot about the t-shirt, the shirtless thing.
And Anakin is the one who blew up the Death Star. No, that was Luke, wasn't it?
That was Luke who did that.
Oh, he also has another question. If I was going to fix the shirtless part, how would I fix it and why? Simple. Have him be embarrassed that he got caught with his shirt off. A little
Makes sense.
humility, I think, would have made him fit more in universe. Because
Yeah.
in universe, there is a lot of, humility where people are a little more humble. People get very embarrassed about being naked and being seen in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like
I
in a
agree.
bath to tank, it's acceptable, but anywhere else, it's not. And that's literally the only way you could fix it, because that would make it feel in universe.
I agree. Yeah, because it definitely did feel very Playboy. It's like, oh, my bad. Sorry. Did
Yeah,
I show off my muscles too much for you?
yeah.
Um,
You need to wash your shirt on these abs.
oh man. So let me see what else did we have here for spoilers that I want to talk about real quick.
Oh, the
Um,
other mother was Vernestra, wasn't it? I'm looking at IMDb and I think that's who it was.
um, it's tough to tell from IBD because
She's
they
not in
def-
makeup.
huh?
She's not in makeup.
Yeah, exactly. Some of these characters are tough to tell from the IMDb because of the makeup. It's definitely a little hard to tell who's who. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe the second mom could possibly, but that's even like, do we know? Like, so here's the question: do we know if there are two moms? Because I was a little confused. It seemed like there's a moment where they were gonna kiss each other or something. I was very confused by that.
Well, here's the one thing about it that I watched and I was like, oh great, we're gonna have to hear people talk about this.
Yeah.
There is a certain sect of Star Wars fans that are very toxic, who are like, oh, a black man can't be a stormtrooper. There's no lesbians in space, and things like that. And I really, and as soon as I saw them, as mother this and mama, I was like, oh dear Lord, they're going to start complaining about this, But the way they presented it in the show, there was a sweetness to each other, but it didn't feel romantic. Um, at least to me.
That's what
Maybe you felt it different, but I didn't feel there was romance there.
that's what I was thinking too. I was like, are they gonna like throw the LGBTQ thing in our face again? But then, yeah, like you said, it didn't feel like a romantic thing. I think it was just like a care. Like, hey, listen, I care for you. You know, we're all family here. Like that's the vibe that it stopped at.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to go more than that. I was like, here we go. But yeah, it stopped there. So I was like, all right, well, maybe it's not that, you know. But I do feel that the other woman will still make an appearance in a future episode. I don't know why. I feel like something from their past is going to come back to bite May and her sister in the butt. I just feel like it just has to at this point because since we got the early reveal of the Sith, all right, great, that's cool. We know who he is now. I feel like there has to be that one more thing before the show ends that's going to come back from their past. And I think it's going to be one of the mothers or women, whatever you want to call them. You know, that was in
Well,
their life.
one of the witches in the coven.
One of the witches, yeah.
The only other thing that I thought, the toxic Star Wars fan would complain about when the women were arguing, where one said, "I gave birth to them." Yeah, well, I made it possible, you know.
Mm.
And she's like, "Yeah, but the way you did it, like I was like, oh, they're gonna fucking start complaining."
Yeah.
At no point did they say, "Hey, I banged you and this is what happened." It
Yeah.
felt more like, I did an evil ritual, and that's kind of how I felt. I was
Yeah.
I was very worried about that, and I've been trying to stay away from all the negativity that's in and around the show
Mm.
because I don't want to look at it till we're done with our, maybe when we do the full season review, I want to take a look at it because I'm just
Same.
curious what people hate. I mean, it's not a bad show.
Yeah, a lot. I've been hearing that a lot of people just don't like the show. I mean, honestly, it's like I said, it's not bad. Is it the best Star Wars? By no means is it like anything like top tier Star Wars show. By no means is it anything near Mando. It's definitely not.
And it's not a Boba Fett show because the Boba Fett show
I, and I think that's like the boundary right there. Like, okay, either you're going to be as good as Mando, or at least be better than Boba Fett. It's
I
gonna
think
be
Boba Fett's the bottom and Mando's the top.
yeah, 100%.
Ahsoka's the middle.
What 100%. So would you say in reference to where Ahsoka is this above or below Ahsoka or about even so
At this
far?
point, I feel like it's edging slightly above Ahsoka.
Okay.
Only because I feel like each episode is only as long as it needs to be, so it makes each episode feel complete, like a complete chapter. It isn't like a chapter and filler pages.
Okay.
So that's why it's edging up.
I feel like for me, it's definitely at that. It's probably about at that Ahsoka level for me. The first few episodes, it was definitely below Ahsoka, and then I feel like once we got to episode 4, 5, it just started picking up a little bit because I'm like, all right, we're getting. I feel like we're getting somewhere. We're getting to see who this master is, and May and her sister relationship is starting to like actually hit a new plateau right now, basically. So it's starting to get a little better honestly for me. So I think it's around the equal mark with what's the name for me. So um
What I do hate is the end of episode 5. They're like, Jedis are stupid
yeah,
when they did the switch.
yeah, that was kind of weird. That's like, come on, like that felt too modern for me,
No,
honestly.
that felt too dumb for me because,
It
and,
felt
and
too
I'll
dumb.
explain why. In every rendition of Star Wars, okay, you always heard a Jedi go, "I sense someone near. I sense this. I sense that." So you're gonna tell me that that their Spider-Man senses weren't working and they couldn't tell that I'm with the bad guy, not the good guy?
Yeah, I was a little confused by that too. It was like, so you can't sense that, but then I thought, you know what? Maybe he's playing. Maybe both of them, or at like Master Soul and the Sith. Maybe they're both playing along with the fact that May switched with her twin sister just so they can see what they can get out of the other. Or maybe they have a plan for the reason as to why they're going with it. I'm pretty sure they sensed it. And Soul, I could just tell the way he got up and he looked around. There was like something on his face, like the way he looked, like the expression on his face was like, "Wait, this is not her. Where's her sister at? What's going on? Where is she at?" And I think he just tried to play it off, just so he can go with her to get something out of her. I don't know what, because remember he is hiding something. So I think they're both playing it off. At
I
least
think
at least one of them are.
I think May's gonna take off her shirt and he's gonna see that it's the tattoo's not there, and he's gonna be like, "Ha ha! I need to chop off your head and fight in the middle of my ship."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think
probably.
it's gonna be a dumb reveal like that.
Maybe. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how the episode ends. We have 3 more episodes. I mean, the season ends. We have 3 more episodes left. And like you said, I don't think it's as bad as everybody else is saying. I think it's definitely a watchable show. It's decent. It's something to hold us over until whatever the next Star Wars show is, which I don't even know what the next one is actually. Yeah, at this point.
You're the Star Wars fan. I can tell you the
So
next Star Trek show to come out. Don't ask me the next Star Wars show to come out.
okay,
And it's Lower Decks, by the way.
Lower Decks. Oh, okay. This freaking bugs, man. I hate when you got I hate when it's summertime and like bugs are just everywhere, everywhere. Like they come through the cracks and crevices. Like how'd
Bro,
you how'd you get in here? You
ants
know,
have invaded my house.
really.
Bro, bro. I'm
Are
telling
they?
you, man. And what's worse is I can't spray the way I want to spray because of the dogs,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna need to.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely gonna have to do something. These freaking bugs.
Because it's getting to the bro. I'm at my bedroom computer, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there looking at something, working on music or whatever, and every 5 minutes I'm like, because there's a damn ant on me somewhere.
Oh man.
And you know
Yeah.
when you get that psychosomatic thing because so many ants are crawling your arms, you feel like they're in your hair.
Yeah, I know. Like, oh, they're always me. Especially what it is. It's like when you see one, that's all it takes. Because you're just like, man, I got more on me. Like the minute you see one, you feel like you just got 20,000 more. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I love the summer, but I definitely hate the fact that we get
Oh, I
bugs
hate the bugs.
everywhere.
You know what? And in the winter, I hate the fact because I live close to a park, all the mice want to try to come.
Oh,
I got a
geez.
cat. They don't come anymore. They go,
Hey, man.
cat, nope, not coming here. Um,
Whiskers? Nope. Not going in there.
um, what what is the strongest part of the series so far for you?
Like anything, pretty
And
much at this point. Anything. The strongest part of this series for me. Wow, that's actually a good question. I feel like no matter how I answer this, somebody's gonna look at this and be like, "Oh, that's a stupid response." Um,
it doesn't really matter because every that's the glory of the show. We have different opinions. You know,
the the strongest part of this show for me, at least one of them, is the music. I love the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack to the show. Honestly, in the cinematography, I love how they have that transition. I don't know exactly what they call it. Like in the older Star Wars movies when they transition to a new scene and then
yeah,
they have
the wipe that they do.
yeah, like I love that particular wipe that they do. I'm like, oh, that's old school. That's old school Star Wars right there. We haven't seen that since like the original trilogy, I think, pretty much.
It's in DaVinci Resolve, by the way. It's
Oh
one of
yeah,
the effects you could use. Yeah, and if you look at the settings for it, you could do a softer border so it feels more like a film transition.
you know what? I need to. I finally gotten to the point in DaVinci, and I know we keep jumping back to editing, guys, but bear with us. I mean, I'm getting to the point in DaVinci where I feel like I'm going to have to pay for the paid version now because there are just certain features that I want to use, like captioning in DaVinci. That AI tool is amazing, and I want to use it, but I gotta pay for it. So I'm hitting my limit for certain features in DaVinci right now. I might have to just pay for the paid
It's not
version.
that expensive too. It's worth the upgrade. I have the version, but I got it because of work,
Uh huh.
and I love it. I absolutely love it, and it renders really fast on the M chips, Apple's M chips. It really does.
So it renders faster because of the upgrade, or are you talking about like the effects you're talking about?
No, when you render out and export, or when you render effects, it's super fast on the M chip, especially the M2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, and even on my M1 Mini, it still renders great.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in 4K.
Yeah, man. I think it's time for me to upgrade for sure. But yeah, I love the cinematography. They go for some old school Star Wars feels in there, and like I said, this the soundtrack is great. So I think for me, that's like one of the strong points of the show is just making this feel like Star Wars. You know, and that was my main thing going into this is because I knew they were going to try. They kept saying we're going to try something different. Everybody wants to do something different. My thing is just make it feel like Star Wars.
I feel like they did absolutely made it feel like Star Wars.
Yeah,
I think they did a great job on it. Is it perfect? Far from, but then again, there is nothing that's been created that's perfect other than the Breakfast Club. Um, the
yes,
movie,
yes,
not
it
not
is.
not the morning talk show. Um,
uh,
so I really do agree with you. It really does feel like Star Wars. I was not enamored with the music. I was
really?
not had. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought it was appropriate. I thought it was perfect for each episode. But it wasn't one of those for me. I was like, oh my god, that soundtrack. You know what I'm trying to say? Like the
Yeah.
same feeling you got when you saw the first Star Wars, and you heard the theme song. You're like, oh my god. And
Mm,
then in Empire, when you heard all those different themes, and it was like, oh, this is so good. Um, I thought it was good though, but just great for the episode, but it didn't jump out to me. It set the
yeah.
mood properly. For me, the best part of it was the fighting. I thought this was absolutely excellent, and it really showed but didn't tell. There's an old saying in film: "Show don't tell."
Yeah.
And with the fighting, I felt like they showed it was a different era of the Jedi. They didn't have to tell it to you. My thing as I was looking, my thing um, for Legion, no, it didn't blow me away, but it was good. Sorry, Legion asked a question in chat.
Mm,
Um, and again, I was thinking back to our conversation where the tech doesn't change in Star Wars.
yeah.
But when I was looking at the ship the Jedi flew, I was like, that is so a 1940s jet plane.
Oh man, a 1940s jet plane.
That's literally the feel I got for it when they were landing the ship and I saw it from the side profile. I was like, that
Yeah.
looks like a 1940s inspired jet plane design. I thought it was like, wow, that's good. It's a really unique looking ship. I
Yeah.
just don't understand why would they need to disconnect their lightspeed drive just to land. Like that's the one thing I don't understand about the Jedi. Like they always need a booster pack to go to lightspeed, and then there's the ship.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely something about that technology that I don't understand. Speaking of technology, I thought it was amazing how the Sith doing the sword fight, he like took another saber out of his saber, and I was just like, "What am I looking at right now?" That and I have to agree with you that the fighting was actually something that was actually pretty great for me in this series so far. It's just so different, and like you said, it does like you do get that feel like, hey, this is a different era, and you feel it. The fight was just on a different level. It almost, and there were certain parts where, like you said, yeah, it almost felt very, almost like borderline anime like with certain moves and certain things that they did. You can tell based off the choreography in this show that they definitely had someone with some kind of martial arts background in this show for sure.
It felt very Wu Ping inspired.
I could see that.
It
I
felt,
could see
you know
that.
who Wu Ping is, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
could
it
see
felt
that.
very Wu Ping inspired, which I loved. Um, but when he pulled out the other saber from the other end,
Mm.
there was a form of French sword fighting that had a dagger buried in the hilt, and then
Mm.
when they would fight, it would be a dagger for defense and the sword for attack, and it felt like that
Mm.
to me.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, you're right. I can see that.
but the way he killed Jackie, I was like, oh my god, he made her
Yeah,
into Swiss cheese, literally.
I know. Like, I was like, what has happened? Like, oh, it was just, it blew my mind. Not just because it was just typical lightsaber fight that always, gets my juices going. It was just the fact that the choreography was just so different from what we're normally used to in a Star Wars universe. I was just like, wow, I love this. Yeah, it's different, but it still feels like Star Wars, but it's still different, and I freaking loved it. It was great.
And do you know the one thing I was thinking about as I was watching them fight, unarmed, hand to hand?
Yeah.
Our conversation about Ahsoka with what's the character's name? The one that was the one that they were looking for. Damn it!
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Let's see who finds it first. You're probably going to find it first. uh, IMDb is like acting horrible for me right now.
Ezra Bridger.
Ezra, yes.
I remember the conversation about Ezra Bridger where he fought hand to hand because he didn't have a lightsaber.
Yeah, and that was something that I liked because I was like, wow, I'm not used to seeing this, and we have been seeing it lately because we saw it in Ahsoka and we saw it in this, but it's something you see a little bit once in a while, but not that often. It's usually just lightsabers or guns, basically.
Blasters
Blasters,
or force push.
force push, dog fights. You know what I mean? Like typical Star Wars stuff. But it's very rare to see this freaking bug is back alive again. Sorry, I'm trying to kill this bug. It's so funny. It's like he dies, he lay there for like 20 minutes, and then he's like up and running. I'm like, yo, you were dead for like 20 minutes. How are you alive now?
They played possum on you.
You definitely played possum, this little possum thing. I'm gonna like destroy this thing after the show's over. You guys wait.
Wait. But yeah, I kind of felt like you may see Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka season 2 use a fighting style like that.
I can see that, and you know what? I like that in the Star Wars universe because it's different. It's different, and I think it just opens up so many different options when it comes to the fighting styles, when it comes to the choreography, especially when you're dealing with certain characters. I loved it. I loved it. I even loved like the Sith's look. He just looked very different. He looked very anime like.
Yes.
He had like the cut off sleeves with the mask, and like the lightsabers was almost kind of felt like swords at this point with the way he was fighting. I was like, I feel like I'm
pants.
Exactly. I felt like I was watching an anime, and I was like, I'm loving what they're doing. I love, and I kind of felt like they were going to go that route when I first saw the initial trailer for the show, just based off of like the characters that they had in it and like the way the fighting looked in the teaser. I felt like they were going to go this route. I didn't know what it was going to look like or how I was going to feel or if I was going to even like it at all. And I'm loving it. I'm loving the anime type feel with this show, and I would love to see more of it, honestly, in like future Star Wars shows.
One thing I did not like was the bad guy, the Sith, gets taken away by all these animals, and then he drops down and doesn't have a scratch on him.
I figured that was going to happen. As far as the scratching thing,
he should have some wounds.
He should. But it was kind of dark though. That was a very dark scene. I don't know if your TV looked a little better than mine, but that scene was very dark. I felt like it got to a point where I couldn't barely even see anything. I felt like I was watching Game of Thrones again.
I still haven't seen that.
You still haven't seen it? I mean, I saw a few episodes, but I know only thing I know is that everybody complains about the last episode being extremely dark. Everybody says that. Like they had to put the brightness up on your TV.
That's terrible.
But yeah, I figured he wasn't dead. At first, I was like, "Oh wow, they revealed him and killed him in the same episode." That seems weird. Nah, they're gonna bring him back, and of course, he came back.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he wasn't gonna die, but I thought he should at least be wounded.
Yeah,
because the tradition is all Sith have like mechanical parts, and they have this, that, and the other thing. They have scars, and he should have had some kind of scar.
Yeah,
or bleed at the very least.
Yeah. Sure. So, I mean, so far, like I said, pretty decent show. It's not bad. If I had to give it any kind of
wait, before you do that, I have one question and then we can end it. Okay. What did you think of her little droid? Her droid / toolkit?
I didn't like it. Out of all the droid pets that we've gotten over the years, my least favorite one. Didn't really like him. It just didn't really. I mean, I get it. She probably didn't have a lot of money. She did the best she could to make her own droid. So for creative purposes, all right, I'll give her a C plus. For saying for not
Uh,
having much.
it,
But
it felt like a multi-tool with a personality. It's literally what I felt like.
yeah, just it was weird. I was like, I mean, for all that, you could have just not have given her a droid at all. I mean, I get that you're trying to like I feel like they do that with all the Star Wars characters now. Everybody has to have like a little buddy. You know what I
All
mean?
good guys.
All the good guys got to have a buddy. And I was just like, this one felt forced. You didn't have to give
Yeah,
her a buddy. You could have just let her just be who she is. Cause yeah, the buddy played a little part here and there, but nobody, I felt like it didn't make me care about it. There wasn't anything fascinating or something that made me remember it. Like you remember R2D2. You remember all the other buddies that we ever gotten over the years. You remember Jar Jar
C2,
Binks.
R4, a Goink droid. Like there's
Ex-
so many.
exactly. And you remember them, even if they were only for like a few scenes or a few episodes, you remember them. And this one is just like, he's just a box that makes noise. He's just like a little square that makes noise.
He's a tool that makes noise.
Yeah. We could have gone without him.
Yeah, I
Not
agree.
crazy about him at all.
Okay, before I interrupted you, you were giving your how many chocolate bunnies and everything else?
My half season or halfway through the season chocolate bunny review, I would give it 2.5 out of 5 chocolate bunnies.
Really?
2.5 out of 5. Yeah.
I am giving it a 3.2 out of 5 chocolate bunnies. I liked it because it felt like a return to the old Star Wars.
Okay.
Some of it was a little cliche with the twins, one good, one bad, and all that other stuff. But overall, I thought it was great.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. So, I mean, yeah, everybody in chat. I mean, oh yeah, this is the end of our spoiler section. So let me go ahead and take the spoilers off, so you guys can know that this is no longer spoilers. Um, So yeah, let me know what you guys think in chat. Whoever's watching it live or watching the video version, let me know what you guys think of the show. How many chocolate bunnies would you give it? And what do you think the show's going to go from here? Basically, we have 3 more episodes left, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Curious to see.
I
Um,
think that one of the twins is going to die, and I think that uh, the Sith is going to reveal there's more of them. Those are my predictions. Whether he lives or dies, I don't know yet. But I have a feeling they're going to kill him. But that's what I feel. One of the twins are going to die, and they're going to say there's more Sith around.
I think so too. I think one of the twins are going to definitely die. Unfortunately, as far as what happened with the Sith, I'm not sure yet. I got to see one more episode. I got to see how things turn out next episode, but I do feel like one of the twins are definitely going to lose their life in this show for sure. Um, so yeah. So yeah, Los, do you have anything you want to leave with the beautiful people before we get out of here tonight?
Do you mean do I have a recommendation or anything?
Yeah. Any recommendations or words of wisdom?
Recommendations, I actually don't have any this week.
Okay. Okay.
Um, actually, no, I do. If you're into leatherworking, I recommend watching Little King Goods. He does leather tutorials and leather project ASR. The guy's out of Canada, does high quality leather products. He has a good personality to the camera, but he feels more like a teacher than an entertainer. That's pretty much my recommendation.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Um, yeah, I don't really have a recommendation either, but I will recommend you guys to check out our Patreon page, which is in the link in our description. Support the channel, support the podcast. That's something that we're really pushing right now, especially going into our 100th episode, which is I believe the episode after this one, I believe.
What did you
Um,
say it was supposed to get together for the 100th?
yes. So that's something that we definitely got to set up too.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we're going to be doing, guys, for the first time in JHouze Radio history, we're going to be doing a in-person live episode where Los and I will be in the same room doing the podcast live together for the first time. So that should be fun. So yeah, definitely check out our Patreon page. You guys can support us with as little as $1 a month. It literally helps Los get a cup of coffee, some soap for the skunk smell, things like that. You know what I mean? For me, some Capri Sun because I'm always thirsty. I don't know why I'm drinking Capri Sun at this time of night. Don't judge me, okay? And also coffee too because I do like coffee as well.
Hey, listen, Capri Sun's better than the purple stuff.
What's the purple stuff? What is that?
Capri Suns, man. Well, didn't wasn't there commercials like there's some orange juice, some milk, some purple stuff, Capri Sun. Oh yeah, Capri Sun. Or am I thinking something else?
I don't know.
It was
Maybe,
a commercial,
possibly.
man.
I don't remember that
Sunny
commercial.
D. I'm confusing that with a Sunny D commercial. Sorry.
Oh, okay. You know what? I was never really a fan of Sunny D. It was always so weird. It had a weird taste to it. Did you ever think that or no?
I was never a fan of it because it felt like syrup. It tasted like syrup to me.
Interesting comparison. Tasted like syrup.
Tastes like
Okay.
orange syrup.
Oh, and Legion in chat said yes. If we do, just to remind you guys, if we do get 5 subs on our Patreon page, I will wear the infamous. I don't even know what kind of outfit we call it. I guess the KJ outfit
Yes,
or whatever
the white tank top with the
with the cowboy
jeans
boots.
and no the construction boots.
Oh, the construction boots and the jeans,
And
basically.
if you want to throw a cowboy hat in there, that's all on you.
That word cowboy. So yeah, definitely check out our Patreon page. If you guys want to support the podcast for sure. But yeah, Louis Berry in chat, appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah,
Aloha, Louis Berry.
so yeah, we're gonna get out of here, guys. It was great talking to you guys once again. Don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Twitch as well. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, leave us a review and follow us on there as well. We will catch you guys later.